The reading that I'm going to do today is from the Radiant White Ride Awake deck, and the question that we're going to be looking at is, what is the energetic cause of this lump? And I wanted to focus on a lump in the throat area specifically, so we're dealing with the throat chakra here. And whether that lump that you're experiencing is an actual solid lump, like a cyst or a nodule, or a goiter, or whether it is just a sensation of having something stuck in your throat, so you feel like you have a lump in your throat and you can't swallow properly. That's up to you and your own personal interpretation, and also it's up to what you are personally experiencing within your body. But I think as women specifically, these days, the issue of our throat area and problems in that area, especially to do with the thyroid, is really topical and really relevant, because lots and lots of people are experiencing these difficulties in their health, and it's not just a physical issue. Yes, it's caused by, external things in the environment, like the toxins and the chemicals, and stress, and then the kind of like hormonal imbalances that creates within the body, and the nutritional deficiencies that we may be experiencing. But there are also emotional components to it, energetic components to it. So it's not just a physical problem, it's a problem that came from somewhere energetically, and then it managed to manifest itself in our body physically because there was an opening, there was a space to get in. And if our immune systems had been strong and resilient in the beginning, then it wouldn't have had the chance to do that. So I thought it would be interesting to use the tarot cards to look into this issue and see what light they can shed, and then hopefully offer some steps forwards towards healing, and releasing whatever might be stuck and blocked. So I'm going to use the Radiant Rider Waite deck. It's a bit of a tongue twister today for some reason, and we will see how we get on. So I'm just shuffling the cards now just to make sure they're clear. And then we will focus on the question. Let's see what the cards have to say. Cards are trying to come out, but not trying to come out. I'm gonna wait until we get a true leaper here today. Okay, that was a true leaper. And that was a true leaper. Okay. So we have two cards. One is, what is the cause of the problem, and the other one is, how can I release it? So the first card is the Hierophant. So in a weird way, like looking at this card and thinking about the throat, I am immediately thinking that like this is mirrored here with these columns. These columns are mirroring the throat, and then the Hierophant, it is like stuck in the middle of the throat. It's almost like he is choking up the throat area, and stopping like the free and easy passageway of oxygen, of food, of liquid, of life force. So that's what really strongly kind of like talks to me today in this reading is just like that is what's blocking the throat. And then there's these two men here listening to what this guy has to say, and it's very, very masculine. There are no women in this picture at all, and it's kind of like I feel like this guy is locked in, like we're under his lock and key. He is the one that is controlling the whole conversation. These people here are bowing to him, are listening to everything that he says, doing everything that he says, believing everything that he says. There's no free thinking, free will. It's like he is controlling the whole picture. And he's very pious and very strict. He's not smiling. He's not like looking at us and giving us eye contact. He is committed to his path, to his role, to his duty, and he's not prepared to listen to anything else. So it's like the kind of overwhelming message here is one of rigidity, of being controlled. And he's wearing this golden crown, and he's in this kind of like decadent suit. Yeah, it's like rich red velvet, and there's the white with the crosses of the church upon it and everything. And he's like, he's got one hand upheld and kind of like in surrender to and in partnership with like the religion, with the church, and even his throat is like covered. It's covered in the blue, and it's kind of like, and he looks almost like he's choking too, and he's saying but he's also trying to say that what he is saying is the truth, and there's no space for any other truth, and that's why he is choked up. It's like this red robe, it's like kind of like this blood red robe, which is of the root chakra and grounding, but it's also of blood and wounds and battles, and he's dressed in blue underneath up his kind of like trunk, and yet the red that is then covering him is like, it's almost like he is prepared to fight to the death to protect his truth, and he is concealing his truth and wrapping his truth within the protection and the veil of religion. Yeah, so it's like you can't come at him and argue with his truth, because it is religion, it is God's word, it is. There's no negotiation there. When it comes to religion, when it comes to the Bible, there's no negotiation. So if we're looking at the situation in that respect and seeing this character as that kind of a character, it's almost like, if you grew up in a really religious family and you discovered as a young teenager that you were bisexual, or that you were a lesbian and you were attracted to women, then that kind of behavior would not be allowed within this society. This guy would not allow you the freedom to be that self, to express yourself in that way, and you would be controlled and told what to do under the guise of religion. And he would fight that point home to you, and he would enforce it with blood, sweat and tears if needs be. There would be no flexibility, and that's what I feel like here. It's like there is this rigidity. So if we see this as both sides of the throat, and it makes me think of bones, the white of bones, and he is in there. He is inside your body, dominating, commanding, telling you what to do as a kind of like a tyrant, and so it's like in the same way that like God and religion are not necessarily bad things, but society and the religion that we experience within our societies has made them as bad in a way, has corrupted them. So a lot of the times religion is not nurturing, it's not supportive, it does not uplift us, it does not help us to grow. It keeps us small, it tells us that we are bad, that we are naughty, that we are evil, that we have to confess and apologize and beg for forgiveness. These things are not supportive. They do not help us to become better people or to grow. They keep us small and they keep us controlled. And that's what I feel that this card is saying, is like that somewhere inside of you, you have lodged this character, this tyrannical individual who is controlling what you do, what you think, what you say, and that is stopping you from being your true authentic self, curbing your freedom. And that is why you have a lump in your throat. You have a lump in your throat because you have an invader inside your body. You have an archetype in your body that should not be there, who is speaking into your head and controlling your actions and cramping your style, your freedom. And there is no talking to this character. He will not be persuaded. He will not make allowances. He will not step aside. He's bolted in place. And there are two keys at the bottom of the card. And there are two men standing there, and they're kind of like humble. They're listening to him. They're obeying him. They're taking orders from him. And it's about finding these two men inside of you, these like loyal subjects, and encouraging them to take a key each so that they can unlock this character from his throne, from his pedestal, and kick him off the stage, kick him off the desk. So a lot to think about there, really. In terms of your own personal power and speaking your own authentic truth and not letting somebody else speak for you. So maybe this character is, the religion that you grew up with and that you have come to believe. And even though you don't consciously know that it's dominating your life, it kind of is. And it's about digging deeper into that past, that history within yourself, and figuring out where that came from and why that's still there, and looking at how it is affecting your life. And if it's not a religious character, then maybe it was a teacher or teachers, or maybe it was a parent or parents, or a sibling, or a friend at a formative age, or a boss. But somebody has planted unhelpful thoughts and beliefs inside you, and they have taken root and they have grown, and now they are lodged in your throat, and they are stopping you from stepping out and being yourself and speaking your truth without feeling bad about it afterwards. So it's like we can speak our truth, but does it come out in the right way? Does our truth come out as sane and rational and grounded and calm and peaceful and loving and kind? Or does our truth come out in one big explosion because we are overwhelmed and we are emotionally provoked, and so therefore it is volatile, it is hot, it is wrathful, it is emotional, there are tears, there are raised voices, and it exhausts us and it wrings us out. So how is your truth coming out into the open, and is the truth that is coming out loving and kind? So that's like kind of like where to work on there and what to look at. But essentially the what is the lump in your throat is this character, these beliefs that are in you that need to be released now, and they are manifesting as a lump in your throat so that you can be aware of them, because you haven't been aware of them before. And so it's all part of the healing. It's all part of the growing and the releasing. And as we get older, we shed the layers, the onion skin. And it's like about peeling it back layer by layer by layer. Gradually, lovingly, understanding and appreciating that we can't do it all at once. It has to be done gently, bit by bit by bit. And this is the next bit that has come up to be honoured and healed in your journey. And so it's kind of like, don't be scared of it, don't hate it, don't resent it. just lovingly thank your body for bringing this to your notice, for telling you that this is the next stage in your journey, this is the next thing that you need to do, this is the area to focus on for the time being, and then do everything you can to nurture and honour that rite of passage, and walk through it with your head held high, and walk through it with a smile on your face, walk through it knowing that you are walking in the right direction, and that what you are doing is the work that you came here to do. This is what you signed on for, this is what you were supposed to be working on. So you're on the right track, so long as you walk into it and don't walk away from it. Yeah, so as long as we're not in denial, as long as we're not trying to avoid something, then we're okay and we're on the right path, even if it feels difficult, even if it feels like it's all wrong, it's all messed up, this isn't where we're supposed to be. If you're walking forwards, if you are moving, if you are changing, then you are in the right place, even if you've deviated slightly. It's when we stand still that we get stuck, and that's when we're not necessarily in the right place, and we have to start moving again in order to realize whether it's okay to be stationary or not. You know, sometimes it is okay to sit and to be still, but we need to keep walking every so often just to check in and to see if it's okay, and if perhaps we're missing something. The second card, how can I move on from this and heal it, is the Three of Swords, which is a difficult card, and a card that speaks of pain and heartbreak, and in this situation here, it is about acknowledging the fact that you have been stabbed in the heart in your life, maybe a long time ago, but the swords are still in there, or maybe very, very recently. But the thing is, it's like the swords are still in there. No matter when your heart got punctured, the swords are still in your heart. And the way towards healing is about removing these swords and healing your heart and forgiving those who stabbed you. So this is a challenging journey. This is a heart-rending journey. Like, there will be tears, there will be darkness and shadow, there will be difficulty, it will perhaps feel really tight and really sore and tender in your chest area, but it's like these swords have been in there for far too long, and you've carried them bravely, and you've done a really great job at getting on with your life and not complaining, or not overly complaining, considering the fact that you have these three swords lodged in your chest. So it's about the work of kind of taking these swords out one by one and healing these wounds. So who made these wounds within you? Is it your mother? Is it your father? Is it your partner? Is it a sibling? Was it a friend? Who has wounded you the most? Which three people have wounded you the most? Which are the wounds that you carry with you now, as an adult, and you have carried them throughout your whole life up until now? Take those wounds out one by one. Basically sit and do some really deep soul searching, do some therapy, journal, find out what comes up, let it come up, and then create a space in which to do the healing and the releasing of those past traumas and that pain. And I really would suggest, if you do find that you have these three deep wounds within you, that you don't just try and do this work on your own. It's possible to do this work on our own, but it's difficult to do this work on our own. It is much easier to have someone hold space for us, someone to lead the way for us, or at least hold our hand while we are walking upon that journey, someone to reassure us and tell us it's going to be okay no matter what, someone to tell us it's going to be okay when we have lost all faith in our body and in its healing and in our life, and in our problems resolving, and in the future being a bright, sunny, happy, warm place. Having that person to hold us accountable to our journey, that person to hold space for us upon that journey, can be really, really nurturing and transformative. And perhaps we wouldn't be able to do the work without that encouragement, without that pushing, because we would lose faith or stamina, or just doubt ourselves too much, and so not push too deeply. There are some places that it is only possible to go with the help of somebody else to shine a light down into that dark tunnel for us. And so maybe this card says that this is a journey where you perhaps need a little outside help. So perhaps that is an idea for you. I know in my own life that I always find it easier to do the work with somebody else's help. Not always, but looking back in hindsight, I think all of the time I would have gained from having that help, that support, even if I didn't always elect for it in the moment. I think it always could have added something extra to the situation and to the healing that then resulted. So yeah, I hope that has been useful for you, given you some things to think about, and a different perspective on that lump. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you again in this space. I look forward to any words you would like to share, anything you would like to add, any questions that you have perhaps in regards to this or to your own particular circumstance. If you like this video, please do subscribe to my channel, and like the video as well. That's also really helpful and supportive to me and to this venture. If you'd like to know anything else about me, then you can find me on my website, lemonrosepetals.com. There you can, there's a contact form, there's information about tarot and other things that I practice, and there are lots of blog posts about the different readings, and each video that I post has a blog post to accompany it with written thoughts as well, so perhaps a bit more perspective and depth that would interest you if you were interested in the reading. You can also find me at Lemon Rose Petals on Instagram and on Facebook. So I hope to see you soon. Bye.